Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bettina and I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video we are doing another installment of was that haul worth it? Haul in retrospect, whatever you want to call it. We are recapping my purchases from March and April 2019. So these are products that I purchased 2 years ago now, which seems insane, absolutely insane. And it was a big one. It was a mammoth haul. In this haul I purchased like 6 or 7 eyeshadow palettes or something insane. Without further ado, let's jump on into it because it's going to be a long one and there's lots to talk about and recap on. So we might start off with what I got in March 2019. So to start off with, I picked up the 2 mini sets from Drunk Elephant. Yes, so the C Firmer Day Serum and the Be Hydrate Intensive Hydration Gel comes in a duo in a little mini size, and then the other set comes with the Virgin Marula Oil and the TLC Framboise Glycolic Night Serum. So I got to try 4 products from Drunk Elephant, and both of these sets lasted me, I think it was almost like a month and a half or something. Like, they lasted me a decent amount of time. I got to use them on my skin for a decent amount of time to see how they affected or changed my skin, and I didn't really see any difference. So ever since trying those minis, I have not purchased anything from Drunk Elephant because the price, in my opinion, is just really high compared to what you actually get. So I just don't think it's worth it. I don't think the value is there in terms of the products from Drunk Elephant. Everything that I purchased in March 2019 I no longer have because I've completely used them up and got them out of my collection. You would have seen them in empties and whatnot. The next product I purchased was the MAC Fix Plus in the Cherry Blossom scent. You can currently get this. I do believe it's still available at Mecca. It comes in a large bottle, which is something that I really appreciate because a lot of the limited edition scents that MAC have been releasing of late have only been in the mini size, and the mini sizes for value for money is ridiculous. It's insane. It's really expensive. It's almost the price of a full-size bottle for the mini in the limited edition scents. So the Cherry Blossom one is one that you can get in the full size in the limited edition scent. So value for money wise, it's a lot better. The packaging is really pretty and the scent's really nice. Has the same formula as the original MAC Fix Plus. It just has that Cherry Blossom scent, and it's not like ridiculously offensive or overpowering. It's a nice light scent, and it's the same great formula as the Fix Plus. So if you want to mix things up a little bit, you can. I haven't repurchased this year because I still currently have a bottle of the original MAC Fix Plus, and I don't see the point in me having like an extra one in my collection. I know that's really strange of me to say because old Bettina would have had like 6 different scents of MAC Fix Plus if I could, but I am trying to be a little bit more realistic when it comes to having, you know, a ridiculous amount of setting sprays in my collection. It's just not necessary. So the next few bits are things that I received from Beauty Crew, which is like customer review kind of system through Marie Claire. So from them, I received the L'Oreal Anti-Fatigue Face Scrub. This is a coffee-based face scrub. I actually really quite liked this, but it was quite intense. So if you find that anything that's really quite intense for your skin irritates it, definitely not for you. But if you like a really good like greedy scrub, it's a good one. I did like it. I haven't repurchased it because I just have that much like exfoliating stuff in my collection at the moment that I haven't needed it. You know, when your skin gets to that point where you just feel like it's just really kind of congested and a little bit like heavy, that scrub in particular was really good for that because it did have that physical grit to it. But I know there's a lot of people that don't like scrubs that have that physical grit to it. And it's a coffee scrub, if I didn't say that already. The next 2 products were from Andalou Naturals. So I received the Canacell Beauty Oil, and I also received the Canacell Glow Mask. I recently used up the Canacell Glow Mask and I really liked it. I would be tempted to repurchase it because I enjoyed it so much, but I have a lot of other kind of peeling type products in my collection mask wise at the moment. But when I clear those products out of my collection, I would 100% really consider repurchasing the Canacell Glow Mask. And the Canacell Beauty Oil, oh my gosh, I was really skeptical when I got this beauty oil, but it quickly became one of my favorite beauty oils. I think since I first tried it, so March 2019 was the first time I tried it. I think since then I've probably gone through maybe like 5 bottles of it, 4 or 5 bottles of it. I have one in my collection at the moment. I really enjoy it. I think it is a fantastic beauty oil. My skin responds really, really well to it, and it is fairly reasonably priced. If you can get it on sale, I think it's normally like around the $18 mark on sale. Normally lasts me about a month of like nightly use, and I really enjoy it. I think it's a really, really good beauty oil. Really, really good, and my skin responds really well to it. And I have super oily skin, and I find it doesn't affect the way my skin behaves at all. If anything, it's probably helped it. So that's everything that I got in March 2019. Now moving on to April. April was a mammoth month when it comes to purchases. First thing I got was from Glam Raider, and this particular order, I only have one thing still from that order. So the first thing I purchased was the Makeup Revolution X Tammy Tropical Carnival palette. I've actually decluttered this palette from my collection because I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like how the formula was. I didn't find that I got very good color payoff from it, and I just didn't enjoy the palette itself, so I decluttered that one. And then I picked up the first edition of the Stacey Marie Carnival palette, and this is actually the palette that kind of started my love of Be Perfect palettes, because I think their bright, colorful formula is actually really, really good, and this is the first like eyeshadow formula from Be Perfect that I ever tried. Since this palette, I think I've ended up with like 3 or 4 Be Perfect palettes in my collection. The only thing that I don't love about their palettes is the size, like the size and the thickness. They're super bulky and super thick, but they do a really good formula. The brights blend really nicely, perform really nicely, and the neutrals are really good as well. I definitely enjoy this palette. If I was to choose between this one and the number 3, I would probably go with the number 3 just purely because it doesn't have the face products in here, but there are some really nice shadows in here, particularly like the navy. The navy is like so good in here. The yellows are really nice as well. So there are some really nice colors in this particular palette that I don't think they really compare to this one. This is number 3 and this is number 1. So like number 3 is more the brighter side of the color story. This one, I guess you could say, has those navies in there. It's still got the brights, but there's a few neutrals and whatnot in here. So, you know, it just depends on what you want. But the navy in this one is it's a really nice color. It's a really, really nice formula. I need to grab this out a little bit more and use it because, God, it's such a good palette. It's such a good palette. And Stacey Marie, like, she has done a phenomenal job on all of her Carnival palettes. Just wish they weren't so big and bulky. That's the only problem that I have with them. Then I also picked up the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation and Concealer. I have since used these up. I think I used them up sometime last year. They were all right. They weren't fantastic. They were all right. They did last me a fairly good amount of time for like value for money because they're quite cheap. I think they're both under the $20 price mark. Really good value for money. If you can find one that you like and if you like the formula, really good value for money. It has a really decent shade range, but I just didn't enjoy the formula. I didn't enjoy like the staying power on them, and the concealer, it was all right. It was all right. Then I made my first ever order from Kaleidos Makeup, and in my first order I picked up the Deep Sea Luster palette, which is their first ever eyeshadow palette that they created. I, to be honest, haven't really used this one all that much. This is the problem that I have when I purchase too many palettes in 1 month. There's always a couple that get forgotten about and like pushed to the side without ever being. I really need to grab this one out because there are some gorgeous shades in here. Like Kaleidos, this was, I think, their first ever eyeshadow palette. Right from get-go, they were already making a really amazing eyeshadow formula. So I'm glad I have this as well because it's like a really highly sought after item at the moment because there's a lot of people that never ended up buying it. but I picked it up in a bundle. They had a bundle of the 3 first editions of the Futurism palettes and this one for like a discounted rate. I think it was like discounted rate and free shipping, so I went with the whole lot. The 3 Futurism palettes, oh my god, these palettes are so freaking good. The green one is like what has sparked my green eyeshadow loving journey. Before using this eyeshadow palette, I was never a big fan of green. And then when I used this eyeshadow palette, you know, domino effect. But the look that I created using this palette in my first impressions is probably one of my favorite looks that I have ever created. And the photo that I took using this palette, like the photos that I got from the look that I created with this palette, I'm like, I like them. I like them. I dig how I look in those photos, and that's very rare for me to say. And then these two, oh my gosh, the pink one has my heart because it is just such a gorgeous eyeshadow palette. It has that blue in there that looks so good paired with the other ones. And then it has the this like shimmery pink, which is gorgeous. Once again, I need to grab these out because oh my god, they're so pretty. They're so pretty. And then this one, it's just a perfect neutral palette. And then the red in here is stunning. Stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. So I really love these palettes. I'm so glad that I got them. These 3. I think the Futurisms, oh my gosh, the Futurisms are so good. And I don't have the Sashimi City or the lavender one. What's the lavender one called? Something lavender. I don't have those. But I think that in my next order, I definitely want to buy them because they're really, really pretty. Then I made a massive, ginormous order from Colourpop. So some of this stuff I don't have anymore because I have used it up. The first ones that I got were these 2 palettes. So these were some of the Colourpop monochromatic palettes. So firstly, I have the It's My Pleasure palette, which is the purple version of these palettes. I mean, these ones they're good for the price. You're only paying, I think these have gone up to $15. So you're paying like a fairly small amount of money for 9 eyeshadows. The shimmers in here are really pretty. The mattes, they're all right. They're all right. But the shimmers are really pretty, especially like this one in the middle is gorgeous. And then the green one, I don't think I've used this one since I purchased it. I did a look using this palette. I think I included it in our first impressions, but since then I don't think I've used it. I prefer, if I'm going greens, I prefer to grab for the Kaleidos one, if I'm honest. I think the Kaleidos formula is outstanding. Comparing the 2, I would prefer to use the Kaleidos formula, and I like the color story of the Kaleidos one better than this one. I think the color story on the Kaleidos one is better thought out, and I think the colors complement each other better than the Just My Luck. From Colourpop, I picked up a bunch of liners, and I think I got 7. So I got like 3 greens, 2 purples, a pink, and a gold. So the Colourpop liners, they're all right. I do find sometimes I have trouble with them staying on my waterline and getting them on my waterline. But if you are somebody that wants to play with like color in your waterline, I think it's the best way to go because they are so cheap, as opposed to buying like a cream gel pot liner from different brands. They can get in like the $20-$30 range for just one color, whereas these are like $6 for one color. So I think price wise, and if you're someone like me that only occasionally or like just on the weekends does really bright eye looks and you're only using them say like once in a blue moon, I think this is a much better way to go than going for something a lot more expensive. I don't think you need to go a lot more expensive if you're just using them occasionally. They are twist up as opposed to sharpenable. If you prefer sharpenable, then these ones are not going to do you any favors. Just depends on what kind of formula you prefer for your liners. Got a lash comb, so it's always good to have heaps of these in your collection, in my opinion. If you want to do colored mascara, you can. If you want to do like gel or something and you want to keep your eyebrow gel a little bit cleaner, you can dip this into your eyebrow gel and then put it in your eyebrows. If you want to get rid of clumps in your mascara, this is also really good for that. So these have lots of different uses and I always like to have some of these in my collection. I also got the Colourpop setting spray, the No Filter concealer and the Full Thread Beauty Cloud Bank cleanser. So those are 3 products that I have already used up, got it out of my collection. So we might start off with the setting spray. The Colourpop setting spray, it's really nice. It has a nice sprayer on it. I actually still have the bottle with, I think it's got magnesium oil or something in it. It's a good quality bottle and the sprayer on it is also really good. So if you want something that you can reuse the bottle, it's a good one. The formula's all right on it. Like, it's not fantastic, but if you do just want something to take the cake away, if you've over powdered or anything like that, it's a good one for that. Full Thread Beauty Cloud Bank cleanser lasted me forever, and it is a cream-based cleanser. It's a lot more gentle on your skin, so if you want something as just like a second cleanser step just to get rid of any residue or something to use in the morning that's really nice and light, I think I was using mine in the morning as my morning time cleanser, just as something really nice and light and simple and wasn't going to overly strip my skin. I used it for that step and it lasted me, like I said, forever and ever, and it was super cheap. I think it lasted me like a couple of months. I'm sure it lasted me like a good couple of months. No Filter concealer. To start off with this concealer, I did get the wrong color. I got a color that was far too light for me and I just didn't get on with it. I found it a little bit too heavy for my under eyes. Not as bad as Shape Tape, but you know, getting close to that. So yeah, it wasn't the worst that I've tried. Shape Tape still takes that cake, but it wasn't too bad. And it's only, I think it's like $6. So if you like, once again, if you like it, you can find a color that suits you. It's a good deal. Way better deal to go that way. I also got 2 empty palettes. The empty palettes from Colourpop are really good quality. These currently house my Super Beauty singles, and I think this one has some of my blushes, my Makeup Geek blushes in them. So they are good quality. Size wise, they're a little bit awkward to get pants in. I'm purely saying that because I have big ones in here at the moment. If they were just a touch, just a hair wider and a hair, like a hair wider and a hair deeper, I would be able to put them next to each other and almost add another row. So I wish they were just a fraction bigger so I could fit the bigger pans in easier. But you know, when they're on sale and they're cheap, can't go wrong with these. And they do also quite often release different prints. If you're like me and you like all of your shadows to be in like a different print for each brand or whatever you have in them, Colourpop always do the different prints. I went to Brisbane, I think, and purchased a few things in Brisbane. Smashbox Centering Citrus Primer Water. I love the Smashbox Primer Waters. I use them as like a setting spray. I liken them to MAC Fix Plus. The Centering Citrus scent is probably my 3rd favorite scent. I absolutely love the ones that they did with Hood Witch. They came out with 3 different scents in Hood Witch collection, and they were amazing. Centering Citrus is, I don't think it's part of the permanent range, but it's like limited edition, but permanent limited edition, if that makes sense. But it is one of my favorite scents out of the Primer Water range. Really great. It's really nice and light, and it's got a little bit of a citrusy scent to it. I also picked up from Sephora the Bounce Foundation and Tarte Shape Tape. This is when the trouble began. Back in April 2019 was when everything went wrong. The first time I purchased Tarte Shape Tape. So Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation, I didn't enjoy it. At first I did, but after a while, you know, it just wasn't working with my skin. Oil wise, it just broke down really quickly, didn't last longevity wise, and the packaging on the foundation bottle is like the worst foundation packaging I think I've ever encountered. It had this weird kind of divot out of the side. to allow you to use your beauty blender and use it as kind of like a spatula, like palette kind of situation. And once you get down like halfway, it just starts spurting and it's impossible to get out. It's like the worst packaging ever. And the spout on it, like I pried that thing open and I popped the pump out to try and like swirl it around and just get it down to the pump to come up a little bit more. The spout on it is so tiny that you can't even like get a spatula in there very well. And then Tarte Shape Tape, which I affectionately call Shart Tape because it doesn't work for me. It makes my under eye area look like I am in my 50s, and that's not a bad thing. It's not bad to be that age at all, but it's bad when your concealer adds 20 years to your life. So I don't like the concealer. I don't think it's very good, and it just creased on me like crazy. It made my under eyes look crusty and gross, and it was always creasing, so I didn't enjoy that one. And I 100% would not purchase or recommend. Not endorsed by the makeup enthusiast. Last but not least was some products that I purchased from Suva Beauty, and I'll try to keep this nice and brief. This one here, I don't think I've even used. I think I've swatched. I've used maybe once, but other than that, haven't used it. I don't think I've even used it once. I think the wear on the pans might literally just be from swatching. For a palette that I was wanting to buy for a very long time, that's pretty pathetic. That's pretty pathetic. There's not many products in my collection that I haven't touched, but there are a few. Let me know if you want to see a video of the products in my collection that I haven't touched, and maybe the shame will get the shame bell out. Maybe the shame will entice me to use them. And I also purchased a couple of brushes. So I picked up the 350 eyeshadow brush, which is another one of my little mini smudger brushes that I love to have in my collection. I think I have like 3 or 4 of these. I use these for putting eyeshadow under my eyes because I have like deeper creases under my eyes. I don't like to bring my eyeshadow down too far under my eyes. Otherwise I find it just like creases into, like it just travels into the crease and kind of migrates down too far. So this I find helps me keep the eyeshadow like really tight and pigmented under my eyes, and I like the effect that this gives. I will say, I've said this a few times, this is not the most comfortable brush to put under your eyes. It is a little bit scratchy, but it does the job. Definitely does the job. The 530 brush, this is like a wider lid packing brush. It's all right. I do find this better than the other one that I have. I have another one from Suva Beauty, and it's like double the width almost of this brush. Same style of brush, just a lot thicker. This one I find is a better size for my eyes. Really like that. Also picked up a couple of the liner brushes. I have no idea where they are. I lose those liner brushes all the time because they are so fine. I can never find them. So it normally takes me like a good 20 minutes to try and find them. The handle on them is really like fine, as well as the tip on them. So impossible to find those, but their liner brushes are fantastic. I always recommend their liner brushes for people that have trouble doing wings, because I think the fact that they are finer gives you a little bit more control, and you can like work up to getting your wing. Like you can do a little bit by little bit, as opposed to, I find some liner brushes or like the angled brushes are too fat and wide, and they give you too thick of a wing right from get-go, whereas the Suva Beauty liner brushes, you can build up and make it thicker as you go, instead of starting too thick and then having to make it thin. That's everything that I purchased in March and April 2019. I don't know whether this really helped you at all. There was a few products in there that I definitely wish I didn't buy, and probably wouldn't repurchase if I had a do-over. If I did it all again, I probably wouldn't pick up these ColourPop ones. I still like the idea of this palette, but I probably shouldn't have purchased it. If I didn't purchase it, I probably wouldn't miss it. So take of that what you will. There's no way I'm giving these ones up. There's no way I wouldn't have not purchased these ones. March, April 2019 haul in retrospect / was that haul worth it? Let me know down in the comments box whether you tried any of these products, what your thoughts on them, whether you would recommend them are. While you're down there, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel. You can also join my membership and applaud this video if you like. That's it for this video, beautiful. I hope that you're having an absolutely fantastic day. I hope that you are staying safe and healthy and looking after yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, beautiful.